Good. Yeah, yes, it has to do with the yes, I don't know if the importance, but the weight that the culture has on each individual. Yes, because it
Our
has to do.
native culture. Native, I mean, quise decir nativo. Our native culture.
Okay, our native culture or our culture. Yes, because sometimes it's native because we are born into it, and sometimes you adopt it. Yes, but it has to do with who you are. Yes, okay, great. So search for, well, let's look at the title first. Search for my tongue. Yes, okay. What does the title tell us about this poem?
What did you ask, teacher?
Yeah, I want you to tell me something about the title. Yes. Okay, search for my tongue. Yes, okay, can you explain it? Can you tell me something about it?
She have to talk in other language. Her language is still here.
Okay, right. And the search is a very strong word, yes, because when you search for something, you're looking for it. Yes, okay. Is she searching for language or is she searching for something else?
He's searching for his mother tongue.
Okay.
She's searching for her identity, for her culture.
Okay, good. Look, this is literature and there is no right or wrong answers. We can interpret. Yes, I mean, at maybe on the surface, you can say she's looking for her tongue. Yes, okay, for her tongue. What is my tongue? But at the same time, your language, your mother tongue, is something visceral. Yes, it has to do with your culture, with your identity. Sometimes, I don't know if it happens to you, but when I'm angry, I cannot get angry in English, I get angry in criollo, you know what I mean? Yes, okay, because this is my Argentinianness, when I get angry, I cannot swear in English. Yes, I swear in criollo, for example. So your tongue is closely linked to your identity, and we are always in search of who we are. Yes, okay. Well, obviously this is poetry, and tongue, yes, yeah, can be super symbolic. Yes, okay.
She means
Well,
language.
All right. Well, she says, you asked me what I mean by saying I have lost my tongue. I ask you, what would you do if you had two tongues in your mouth and lost the first one, the mother tongue, and you could not really know the other, the foreign tongue? You could not use them both together, even if you thought that way. And if you lived in a place you had to speak a foreign tongue, your mother tongue would rot and die in your mouth until you had to spit it out. I thought I spit it out, but overnight while I dream, okay, well, let's look at this first part, yes? Um, how is this poem structured? What is the first word we see here?
First word, you.
So you asked me what I mean by saying I've lost my tongue. What is the writer doing?
She is speaking to us, to the reader.
Good. He's addressing the reader. He's engaging. Yes, because he's talking to you. He's addressing you, engaging you. Yes. Okay. And he's using conditionals. What would you do if you had two tongues in your mouth and lost the first one, the mother tongue? Yes. Why would you? Why do you think this person has lost her mother tongue? Or yes, it's her mother tongue.
Because he used all the time the other language.
That's right. Maybe when you move to another country, suppose you move to an English-speaking country and you would be speaking most of the time in English, you feel that you lost your mother tongue. Yes, okay. If you lived in a place, you had to speak a foreign tongue, your mother tongue would rot. What would happen to your mother tongue in this case?
According to her, it can disappear. According to
Okay.
her.
Yeah, but look, it could rot. You know, very strong words. Yes, would rot, and die. Yes, and then you had to
Yes.
spit it out, like discarding it. But you think you lost your tongue. It rot and you spit it out. But is it really out? What happens overnight?
I'm sorry, the question was what happened overnight?
Yeah.
Yeah, it returns to
It
her mother tongue.
returns. Yes, it comes back,
Yes,
right?
it grows back. Yeah.
Obviously, we do not understand any of this. Yeah, because it's not English. Yes, it's not Spanish, and we don't speak this, right? In a way, it's an assertion of her mother tongue. Yes, okay. This is a little bit of psychological. Yes, she dreams in her mother tongue because it's so inner. Yes, so private, so inner, so deep inside her mind that what happens? It grows back. Stump of a shoot grows stronger, grows moist, grows strong veins, and it ties with the other tongue in knots. The bud opens in my mouth. It pushes the other tongue aside. Every time I think I've forgotten, I think I've lost the mother tongue, it blossoms out of my mouth. Okay, so she's searching for her tongue, yeah, and like Laila said, yes, we have this question of this person, yes, who maybe has been displaced, is, displacement, living in another place that is not home, yes, okay, and finds that she has two tongues and thinks she has lost, her native tongue, her mother tongue, but she has not, okay. Let's work at a literal level. It's not, you cannot do it literally because it's poetry and it's so poetic and so metaphoric. Yes, the tongue here is super symbolic of culture, right? As I said with the criollo, yes. And at the same time, it's metaphorical, yes? Which metaphor is used to describe what happens to her tongue? Her tongue is equal, yes, it's
flower, a flower.
Okay, right. A plant, yes, okay. You think it rots and it would rot and dies, but then it grows back, I love this. It's an extended metaphor. If you look at it, it's all this part is not just a metaphor. It's an extended metaphor because the whole part of the last part of the poem is the tongue like a plant that begins stump of a shoot and it grows, yes, ties the other in knots like a tree, and then the bud, blossoming, opening. Okay, that's why we say it, obviously, yeah, it's a very strong image. This tongue that is not dead, on the contrary, yes, it's growing fast, yes, healthy, and it blossoms. Okay, blossoms out of my mouth. Okay. So, I would like to know if you, because the idea, what you had to do for today was to take some notes and tell me something that you had understood and something to share about this poem. What have you written? Then we can go back to the poem, but I want you to tell me.
I think that the poem explores what it's like to be an immigrant in a new culture, the relationship between language and identity. The poem shows how challenging it is for the speaker to have to speak only in a foreign language, and suggests that in losing her mother tongue, she will lose part of herself.
Okay, good. But she does not, because her mother
No,
tongue is
because
there. Yes.
grows back.
Yeah, it grows back. You think you have lost it. You think you are not that person anymore, but you still are. Yes, it's part of you. Even it's part of your unconscious, you know. Yes, when I dream, just when I sleep. Yes, it's a moment when the language is waiting the tongue to blossom. Yes, and to grow back. Okay, good, excellent. Any other ideas?
Yeah, compared to the other text, the Sandpiper is like more optimistic about the tongue, because the other story it's like a complete loss of her tradition and her life in England, and this one is like in her dreams she can grow back her mother tongue, and it's like more optimistic, I think.
Yeah, it's more optimistic. Then we're going to talk about the other story. In the other story, she writes, you know. So in a way, art can, you know, art, poetry, literature. I mean, these are all also powerful um, cultural tools, you know, to hold on to who we are. Yes, markers of identity. Yes, but it is more positive. Yes, because in general, yes, she addresses the reader and says, "Well, you think you've lost my tongue, but I have not." Yes, in the Sandpiper, she has lost uh, much of her freedom. Yes, this is part of the idea that when you leave your homeland, yes, you have you experience another culture, and you may lose part of your culture in the process. Yes, you may gain something too, but well, this complex relationship, people who migrate, yes, or who are culturally displaced, not only because they choose, but well, because they are refugees, or, you know, or this imaginary homeland, you know, the homeland that is perfect and is not. Yes. Okay. Any other ideas? No? Okay. How are you feeling with the poet, the poem form, or the shape, or the format? Is it easier to deal with, to understand, to
I
read, to
believe so.
explore? Mm-hmm.
It was easy because it have easy words. I mean, there is no difficult words
Okay.
in there, and it's easy to understand.
All right. Yes. And what I liked about this poem, other words in another language. It's like, you know, they are butting in the native culture. Yes, they are. And she, in a way, is emphasizing her culture, you know, because this is part, there is a whole phenomenon that is called translanguaging. We won't go deep into that, but this is the shifting from from one code to the other on purpose. Yes, you must have seen it in films, especially when you have Mexican, Chicano, yes, people on the border who shift from one system to the other. And obviously, in this case, it is done on purpose, yes, to emphasize her Indianness, yes, or okay. Well, you have learned that poems can take different formats, yes, different shapes. You have seen Insta poets, yes, Instagram poets that write minimal, yes, minimalistic poems and maybe illustrated ones. We have seen Zephaniah, who is he's a dove poet, and he's a performer, and he raps some of his poems. Yes, you can Google him. There are many. He always addresses the question of culture. Yes, and he challenges stereotypes, and in a way tries to open our eyes to prejudice and discrimination. Yes, and in this case, well, we have seen this Indian poet who addresses the question of culture, identity, and displacement. Okay, are we okay up to here? I know there are lots of concepts. Yes, there are books on this. There are narratives of place and belonging, and there are imaginary homelands, cultural displays, and that books and books. I'm giving you something super simple. Yes. It seems so simplistic, but it is not. But if you follow me up to here, I'm satisfied. Yes. Okay. Well. So we're not going to see any more poetry. With Ana Loverde in second year, you're going to go back in time and you're going to see 18th and 19th century poets, more traditional ones, yes, and you're going to explore anyway. The language of poetry is always the language of poetry. Yes, you will have metaphors like this extended metaphor, yes, of the plant, yes, the language of plant, and or for example with Zephaniah, the recipe poem, yes, of the melting pot, yes, the cultural cauldron in which all the, you know, different races make up the British, yes, and this question of who is the British, yes, what is British? Questions so far? No. All right, excellent. Well, now we are going to work a little bit with a short story, yes.